Hi Alicia, just wanted to give you some feedback on what I think about your work. I think it looks really great, but the main thing that catches my attention is lots of body parts which seem to be kind of sticking in space, and I'll just show you what I mean. If we just look here.
If your intention was to shoot an...
So for example here, let me just press P. This arm, you'll notice, stays almost locked in space, the same angle quite a lot, and it registers as being stuck in space. If there's anything you could do perhaps to try and change that angle, maybe loosen the arm a bit, because throughout most of that first section the pose is the pose, but to have it change that angle a little bit would be see it here, it's a nice angle here, and you could possibly start to move it down, at least have it a bit more fluid in space so it doesn't feel like it's locked. So that's one of the things which catches my attention there, and that seems to be quite prevalent throughout what you've done. And here, for example, you've gone from having your pelvis over here, and then when it hits this spot here, okay, so there's that line, it just stays there. There's no real moving hold until that point there. Now, the poses are great. I just feel that if you're going to do that, try standing still and absolutely still in one position for ages. It's not going to happen. So if you want to, say, when you initially move into that pose, get to there and maybe have it just ease across a little bit so it's not completely still, so the body moves a little bit across and then it can move a little bit back just so it feels like it's alive, because at the moment it's just completely locked in space, and that it just feels like you're going from one pose and then lock, another pose, lock, and to add a bit more float, because it's very rigid.
If your intention was to shoot an arrow through my heart, bullseye!
Okay, so things like that as well. When down here, again, you've got that same pose, and then he starts to move out here. And there was one thing as well I noticed as well, when he hits himself in the chest here, you've got this shape here, and then a sudden change in shape. It's a much bigger object here, from here to here, and you've got a similar shaped object there. It's very small from the camera's perspective, but when it jumps across to there, it's quite a big visual change in shape, so that kind of snaps a bit. What's the word they use? Pop. So maybe have that wrist come a little bit more in between in terms of its screen space, so that when it comes across, it's not quite such a snap. I know he's supposed to be tapping himself on the chest, but I think that
through my heart.
Or another thing that I've seen my mentor tell me to do is, if you're doing that, perhaps go to this pose here and have the fingers still in an overlap, so that they're kind of not quite hit, but when the palm hits the chest, the fingers are still behind, and then it snaps afterwards to make it come through a bit better. And the other thing that catches my attention is the speed in which he turns around. He has a bit of an anticipation, but he doesn't really anticipate with his arms. It might be better if he took that arm back a bit more to make that anticipation, so that when it follows through, there's a change in that angle. At the moment you've got this angle here and that angle there, but the angle between the two is more or less the same. You've got maybe like 100 130, 140 degrees there, and it's the same angle on the arm. If you have a smaller angle on that arm there, on that frame, and then change the relative angle between the arm, it will feel a bit more fluid, because at the moment even there it's still showing that same angle between the arm, and that's why it doesn't feel fluid. And here is a bit of a spacing thing. Here you got your wrist here, so there, there, so that's following an arc like that, and then the next one, it's suddenly there. So potentially you either want to follow that arc. I mean, it's going to follow an arc like that, but maybe have the hand over there. So maybe that means that the hand is at this angle instead of being down there, which would put your brush up here instead, which would make it flow through that arc a bit better, because you've got this arc flowing through the arm there, and like I said, it should really end up over here somewhere, maybe even there, so there isn't this sudden spacing change. So you got your hand here, and suddenly it's over here when it really should visually be up over here somewhere, and then you can ease it down to that position there. On the other side, there's quite a change in the hand position, but let's just look at that arc that you're creating there. That's why I probably think it's a bit fast, because you go from hand here to hand here to here to suddenly all the way around to here. So to get nice believable spacing, you either want to maybe delay that arm a little bit there, so it's dung 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 like this, so that's your arc there, and then if the arm was here, then you maybe delay it back to there or something, so you're flowing through that arc along there, and so you get this sort of, if you want your arc to do that shape, just be aware that there's a shape being formed there, and so that would naturally flow through to there, but you need to have your hand on that arc somewhere, maybe have it there at that position or there, and then it's going to go round, later on it goes round the front. Just feel that it's not really tracing that arc clearly enough, and maybe you need to add some more frames in it, because it does snap quite quickly if you, because it just jumps around a bit too fast. I think maybe 1 or 2 or 3 extra frames to describe that arc a bit better as he's going around in space might be something to help to polish that a bit. I don't think it's going to change much in your polish, you just need to add a couple of frames into it. And here I'm half thinking that as he's coming up like that, you may, I'm not sure how much this will change it, but maybe, because he's having a bit of a girly fit here, you may want to raise his shoulders a little bit. So you're raising his body up, but raise his shoulders so that then when it comes down, you'll have this comparison between the top of him doing that and then the boo, I'm going to be in my change room sort of look. And here as well, in these last few frames, everything is completely rock solid stationary. You probably want to have them here and have a kind of moving hold, like ease from here, slowly spacing it down till they're on this side. And so this one could be start off here and that could slowly space down. So just showing more of the gravity as he's holding these objects, that he's holding them and he's still tense, but there's kind of like a different change in movement in the hands at the end, just because it's very, very stationary. Alright, so that's my, got 9 minutes worth of rambling, but I really enjoy your work. It's great, and I'll hopefully see you around. Take care, bye.